We got JuJu Watkins, Paige Beckers, Hannah Hidalgo, Joyce Edwards, and a whole bunch more players. These are some of the names that you all will be hearing for the next couple of months as we get into women's college basketball.
Quita Loves Sports. It is in the name.
What is up, awesome people of the internet? The day has finally arrived. It is here. We are at November the 4th, guys. We mark the start of the 2024-2025 women's college basketball season. I mean, I'm excited. I don't know about y'all. I hope y'all excited. So here is what you all need to know before the day kicks off. Now, for the next 117, I should say, days between now and the start of March, we will see colleges from around the country playing somewhere around 28 to 31 regular season games. Now, the reason for the discrepancy in the games is that the NCAA does not specify a certain amount of games that teams have to play during the regular season. Now, in all this discussion, it is D1. So every time I'm talking about teams, I'm talking about Division I teams. There are 3 divisions in the NCAA: Division I, Division II, Division III. Division I teams are basically the majority of the games that you will find on TV for women's basketball will be D1. All right, so most of the top teams play in the Power 5, or now the Power 4, now that the Pac-12 is still around, but a shell of itself. They play most Power 5 or Power 4, I should say, schools play non-conference teams for the first half of the season. And the second half is largely focused on conference-specific play, leading up to conference tournaments that typically happen at the beginning of March. Now, if you all are wondering how many conferences there are, well, for women's college basketball, there are 32 conferences. And the conferences are the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Big 12, the Big East, the Big 10, the SEC, the American East, American Athletic, Atlantic 10, Atlantic Sun, Big Sky, Big South, Big West. Y'all see a trend in some of these names. Colonial Athletic, Conference USA, Horizon Ivy League, Metro Atlantic Athletic, Mid-American, Mid-Eastern, Missouri Valley, Mountain West, Northeast, Ohio Valley, Pac-12, Patriot League, Southern, Southland, Southwestern Athletic, aka the SWAC, Summit League, Sun Belt, West Coast, and Western Athletic. So those are the 32 conferences that make up women's college basketball. And of those conferences, we have different levels of skill set, right? We do have the Power 4 conferences, which this year is the ACC, SEC, Big 10, and Big 12. Now, these, for the most part, make up the top teams in the country. We also have mid-majors that make up sort of the sort of really good schools, but also overall the conferences are a whole lot weaker. Those are conferences like the Ivy League, like the MEAC, like the Mid-American Conference, West Coast Conference. Those are those sort of mid-major conferences, and the top mid-major school likely going to be for this year will be Gonzaga. Gonzaga has been phenomenal. They've been a mid-major darling for the last couple of years, and I'm interested to see what Gonzaga can do this year. Now, with so many conferences, so many teams, and so many players to watch, it can be pretty difficult to be fully tapped into what's happening for women's college basketball, which is why, and that's also, I should say, super understandable. But that's why I hope that you all rely on this channel. This is a channel for women's college basketball fans, for WNBA fans, for just anybody who is a fan of women's basketball, period. This is a channel for you to sort of use this as a resource to keep you all posted about what's happening, some of the bigger trends that's happening, injury reports, top 25 polls, giving you all a general recap about what's happening, because there's a lot of games happening, a lot of stuff happening. It can be very difficult to pay attention to everything. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you could do that, that'd be awesome. Also, if you're already subscribed, make sure to turn on your notifications, because I know there's a lot of people who sometimes they don't see my videos. They don't see that I posted something because they don't have their notifications turned on. So make sure to do that. Stay tapped in. Also, make sure to hit that like button as we continue on with this video. So there's a lot happening. And I want to talk about some of the top players that you all should be paying attention to. And I found two lists from the NCAA that they put out that I think does kind of capture some of the biggest name players that you all will need to be taking a look at. And it's split off into two lists. One is the returners and one is the transfers. And I want to go through some of these players real quick because, yeah, it's a lot to pay attention to, but there are some ladies who are gonna be balling this year that was balling last year. So we're gonna talk about them. Okay. First up, we have the player that I'm probably most excited to watch this year. Her name is JuJu Watkins. She plays for USC Southern California. Last year she was a scoring machine, and now in her sophomore year, I'm really excited to see what she can do. Again, last year, 51 points in a game. She scored against Stanford, might I add. So I'm just, and this is not the Stanford of now. This is the Pac-12 Stanford, like one of the best teams in the country, Stanford. And she dropped 51 points in that game. She ultimately finished the year scoring 920 points as a freshman, which is a record. She got a lot more help this year. We're going to talk about it in the transfer section, but yeah, watch out for JuJu Watkins. Watch out for her. We also have Paige Beckers. Last year, Paige Beckers was finally healthy. She made it through the season, and this year, Paige is, she's looking to show people why everybody has her at number 1 for the WNBA draft. She is phenomenal. She is a player who can kind of do a little bit of everything. At times last year, she was playing the power forward position. She's a little bit of everything for Paige Beckers, and she does have a lot more health on her team back. And so, I'm interested to see what she can really do. Gino said he is very interested to see her be a lot more dominant and be a lot more forceful in her game, and be a little bit selfish at times. Like, she is a player who can score a lot, but sometimes she is a little bit too unselfish. And so, interested to see how she does this year. We have Hannah Hidalgo. Hannah Hidalgo was phenomenal last year. Again, freshman, just like JuJu Watkins, and was lighting it up. Last year, she averaged 23 points a game. She also is a really good passer and can rebound. Wow, she is very short. She's very, very short. And can also rebound the basketball. She was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. She was a Naismith Defensive Player of the Year runner-up, or finalist, I should say. So, phenomenal. Excited to see what she can do. They do have Olivia Miles back and healthy, and so dynamic duo. Let's go. Notre Dame should definitely be on your watch list. We also have Audie Crooks. Y'all, Audie Crooks, I became a big fan of Audie Crooks last year. I think what Iowa State is doing is very, very interesting. They have a crop of underclassmen who are really going to be the identity of this team for the future, like for the at least next couple of years until they graduate. And they're led by Audie Crooks. Audie is a post player who can score at will. She has really good footwork, and she can shoot the ball. So, I'm just saying. She scored 40 points last year. Yeah, JuJu scored 51 as a freshman. Audie scored 40 as a freshman. Y'all, these freshmen last year were built different. And speaking of freshmen, next up, Mylasia Full-Wiley from South Carolina. Y'all, last year, she was fantastic. We saw her in the actually the season opener last year in Paris, where South Carolina played Notre Dame. And we just saw the layup game of Mylasia Full-Wiley. It's wild. She came off the bench last year, didn't probably get as much playing time as she wanted. However, when she got on the court, lightning in a bottle. She can do crazy passes. She can score. Watch out for Mylasia. Watch out for her. All right, now let's go from South Carolina to Texas. We got two players. One is upperclassman. One is a freshman. First, let's talk about the upperclassman first. Her name is Rory Harmon. Rory Harmon, in my opinion, was one of the best point guards in women's college basketball last year. She did unfortunately get injured. She tore her ACL last year, which was like a tough loss for Texas. But she is back, and yeah, she about to ball out. Rory Harmon's back. She can play defense. She's a great passer. She can shoot the ball. She can do a little bit of everything. Rory Harmon, let's go. And the person who she's going to be passing it to is, her name is Madison Booker. Yeah, again, freshman, Madison Booker. Was phenomenal. She is a sort of combo type of guard. She can kind of do a little bit of everything. After Rory Harmon went down last season, we saw Madison Booker get the starting nod. Or she was already starting, but she got the starting point guard role. And I thought she handled that really well. I thought she handled that really, really well. So this year, I think it's just a matter of how much more elevation will we see Madison Booker make. I already talked about her before, but Olivia Miles is back. She is healthy. Yeah, we about to see the 1-2 punch of Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo. We haven't seen Olivia Miles play for an entire year. She was out the entire last season because she got hurt in her sophomore year towards the end of the season. I believe it was the last regular season game. She actually messed up her knee against Louisville. And so, yeah. Now she's healthy. She's ready to ball with Hannah. All right, we got two LSU players. We got Anissa Morrow, Chicago's very own Anissa Morrow. She transferred to LSU last season, played the season with the team. I think she is a player who is extremely comfortable around the basket and is doing a lot more sort of in the mid-range game, and I'm really interested to see how she continues to evolve. Last year, she averaged 16.4 points a game and 10 rebounds. The goal for Anissa, hey, step away from the basket, get further and further and further out, because you got to show these WNBA scouts that you can score. And we all know you can score, but you got to show them a little bit more, that you can score away from the basket, because I think she can absolutely do it. She will be one of those players that will be likely entering into the draft, I think. We'll see. All right, and we have Flau'jae Johnson. Flau'jae Johnson, rapper extraordinaire, basketball player. She can do a little bit of everything. She is entering her junior year. Last season she averaged 14.9 points a game and 5.5 rebounds. She could score, whether that's mid-range, whether that's getting to the basket, whether that's three-point shots. She could do a little bit of everything. And now this year, it's Flau'jae's team. Last year, it was Angel Reese's team. This year, Flau'jae Johnson is the bona fide leader. And I'm interested to see kind of how she does. For LSU, we got two players. We got Lauren Betts, who transferred to UCLA. Lauren Betts transferred to UCLA last year. Had a really good season. She initially started off at Stanford, transferred to UCLA, and I think it's a way better fit for her. She is a scorer. In Lauren Betts, if she gets the ball on the block, kind of hard to stop her when she turns and tries to make a move. Last year, she averaged 14.9 points a game, 9.3 rebounds a game, and 2 blocks a game. I'm interested to see all those numbers go up. Blocks probably will stay the same, but like points per game, rebounds per game, that stuff needs to be going up, because she is such an impactful player that if they just run specific schemes for her just all throughout the game, they can find some success. Next up, we do have Kiki Rice. Kiki is a junior and is one of those players who was extremely hyped in high school, right? Goes into college, and has been a really good player. But I'm interested to see how Kiki elevates her game this year. I think she has way more to offer than what we have seen. She's a guard who can score. She could pass the ball, but I'm looking to see her be a little bit more efficient in her scoring, and ultimately really help UCLA make it to that next level. All right, we got a little bit more, and then we'll be done with the returners. We got Ayoka Lee. Ayoka Lee is a player who can be dominant in the paint. She's very, very tall. The only thing is, can she stay healthy? That's the question about Ayoka Lee. Can Ayoka stay healthy? Last year, she averaged 19.7 points a game, 8.6 rebounds a game, and also she could block a whole bunch of shots with 2.8 blocks a game. We got Tahina Paopao as well. Tahina Paopao is with South Carolina. And Tahina, when you talk about Tahina, you talk about 3-point shots. She originally was at Oregon, transferred over to South Carolina last year. Big impact for the team. She can spot up, shoot threes all day long. She could do more than 3-point shots, but also like 3-point shots is her bread and butter. This is going to likely be her last year in college, and so yeah, we gonna expect her to do her thing. Last year, she led the nation in 3-point percentage with 46%. Guys, isn't that crazy efficient? 46% from three. Now, if a guard is shooting 46%, period, that's seen as really, really good. But someone shooting 46% from the three is wild. And the reason why she could do that is because she could be very selective with her shots because of just the way that South Carolina plays basketball. They don't rely on her to shoot threes as much. I think if they did, she would probably have a lower average, but she's very selective with her shots, which is why she is able to overall be a lot more efficient. We also have Raven Johnson, who is PG1 for South Carolina. Y'all, Raven's looking to have a big season. She's looking to have a big season. She needs to sort of improve her draft stock. She is a good defender. She can pass the ball well. She did show that she is much of a more willing shooter last year than the year before. So, like, you know, I think Raven Johnson's a good player, a really good player, I should say. But can she continue to show that she's a lot more comfortable shooting threes, a lot more comfortable shooting mid-range? I mean, she showed it last year, but like you still have to like continue to just show that a little bit more because, again, she's trying to shore up her draft stock. And so, yeah, shooting is definitely going to help that. We all know that she could pass the ball. We all know that she can play some defense, but scoring is still something that you know, we need to see a lot more of. Last year, she averaged 8.1 points a game, 5.2 rebounds a game, 4.8 assists, and 2 steals. And finally, for the returners, we have Sanaya Rivers. Y'all, Sanaya Rivers, formerly of South Carolina, went over to NC State. Her and Isaiah James have been balling for this team. Sanaya Rivers is a sort of combo guard / forward who is a slasher, but needs to develop more of her mid-range, more of her 3-point shooting on a consistent basis. She has the potential to be fantastic. And she has shown herself to be a really good player. It's just that I think there just needs to be another unlock for her this season to sort of take that next level in terms of being a more consistent scorer. Last year, she averaged 12.5 points a game, 6.1 rebounds, and a 3.7 assists a game. Also, she's a really good defender as well. Really good defender. All right, next up, let's talk about the transfers. And y'all, when we talk about the transfers, we gotta start with USC, who picked up 2 of the biggest transfers. We saw Talia Von Oelhoffen leave Ohio, Oregon State, casualty of the Pac-12's implosion. She left Oregon State and moved on over to USC. Yeah, she can score. Okay, next up we got Kiki Iraofen, who transferred from Stanford. Again, another casualty of the Pac-12 and the fact that they their head coach Tara Vanderveer retired. So the Pac-12's loss, or Stanford and Oregon's loss, because they're not even in the Pac-12 anymore, is USC's gain. And y'all, JuJu Watkins, Talia von Oelhoffen, and Kiki Iraofen is going to be a sight to see at USC. Okay, y'all like how I rhymed there? Sight to see, USC. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about UCLA, who did get a dynamic trio in the building. They got Tamia Gardner, also from Oregon State. They saw Janiyah Barker head over from Texas A&M to UCLA, and another Pac-12 casualty, Charlize Legger-Walker, has transferred from Washington State to UCLA. These are all three players who are going to be critical. The thing is, Corey Close, the head coach for UCLA, is on the precipice of really, really trying to build long-standing success for UCLA. Like, she's trying to make UCLA a destination. You have top players already, right? And this is a school that's trying to use the transfer market to bring in some big name players. Again, Lauren Betts had transferred last year, and the impact that she's made. Kiki Rice is like the only main one that is one of the main ones that wasn't a transfer, right? You bring in three transfers who are looking to make an immediate impact. I think it's gonna be fun. But the question is, can Corey Close, sort of seal the deal? Like, you got some really good talent, but how does the season pan out? I think that's the big question. How does the season pan out? All right, and we also have Notre Dame. I did a video about Notre Dame, going over their entire roster. If y'all did not see that video, make sure to go and click that and watch it. Or go through every single player on the team. They do bring in 2 transfers in Leah King and Liza Carlin. Leah 2 is about to be fantastic. I'm just saying. Like, Leah 2 is going to be the dynamic trio of Leah King, Hannah Hidalgo, and Olivia Miles next year. Liza Carlin is a good player as well, but like, Leah 2, phenomenal. Huge impact right off the bat for Notre Dame. We got Georgia Amore that went over to Kentucky. She has followed her head coach, who left Virginia Tech, and is now with Kentucky. So yeah, we go see how, like, Georgia Amore is a fantastic point guard. She is a point guard who can score at will, and how she fares in the SEC, that is a thing I want to see. I want to see that. Because I think it says a lot. If you can make it in the SEC, it's a lot easier for you to make it in the WNBA. I'm just saying. We got Reagan Beers, who transferred over to Oklahoma. Lucy Olson transferred to Iowa. We got Layla Falia, who transferred to Texas. We got Haley Van Lith transferred to TCU. Aranette Von Lay is at Baylor. Caitlin Chin is at UConn. Deja Kelly is at Oregon. Grace Van Sluten at Michigan State. Talia Scott is at Auburn. So those are some of the transfers that we saw in this past offseason. So excited to see ultimately what they can do with their new squad. Now, on to we talked about the players, which is great. Now let's sort of talk about the games. Let's talk about the games that we will see this offseason. No, this regular season. Now, you all probably want to know, where in the world can I find out about all these games? Well, ESPN is your best source. ESPN has a handy dandy tracker that literally has every single D1 women's basketball game on it. Now, did you all want to know a fun fact? A fun fact is today alone, November the 4th, there are going to be a total of 161 women's basketball games today. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And you're probably like, hey, how in the world do I know all the stuff I need to watch? Well, I'm gonna go through it. But first, I want to talk about the tracker real quick. The tracker, of course, it's very like specific, it's specific to everybody, right? So you can go Division 1, and you can look at all the teams. You can also specifically click on certain conferences and see, like if I want to see the Big 12 games today that feature them, I click on that, and now I see, okay, Iowa State's playing Chicago State. I didn't know that. Okay, that seems kind of cool. You could see all the games here. You could see the various games for the different conferences, or you can just watch them all by looking at this. Fun fact, guys, the first game of the 2024-2025 season is Georgia Tech versus Winthrop. They play at 9:30 a.m. Central. So yeah, lots of games you can kind of see here. You can also see the network that the games are on. Of course, ESPN Plus is a heavy provider for a lot of games. So if you want to watch, especially a lot of the mid-majors play, you definitely want to get ESPN Plus. But you can kind of see here, like we see South Carolina versus Michigan, TNT, and also on True TV. You can see that here. Anyway, so that's kind of a look at how you can find out about these games. Now, if you all are like, okay, well, what games specifically should I pay attention to? Well, here's a list that ESPN made that I actually think was pretty helpful to just sort of keep tabs on like some of the major games. And that includes Louisville versus UCLA. That is happening today at 1:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. That is the Paris game. So last year we did have a Paris game. It was Notre Dame versus South Carolina. This year it is Louisville versus UCLA. That should be fun. All right. We also have South Carolina versus NC State. It's always fun when you see Sanaya Rivers play her former team. That game is happening on November the 10th at 2 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. We have Notre Dame taking on USC on November the 23rd at 3 p.m. Central Time. That game is going to be on NBC. That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a really, really fun one. I think some of these early encounters, like with top 10 teams, I think it's really going to say a lot. And we'll probably see the rankings change by the time we see these games. We'll probably see the rankings change. But yeah, Hannah versus JuJu. About to be fun. All right, we also have South Carolina taking on UCLA on November the 24th at 3 p.m. on FS1. On November the 4th, or on December the 5th, we have Texas versus Notre Dame taking place in South Bend, Indiana. I may be getting tickets for that game. I'm not sure. I may be getting tickets. That game is at 6 p.m. on ESPN on December the 5th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central. I really want to see Texas play in person. So I think I may go to this game. I may. All right. We also have Duke versus South Carolina. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't know if it's necessarily must-see TV, but I think it's going to be a good game. Duke is a very defensive-based team, and they're trying to show some impact. They're a really good team. They can score and whatnot, not as efficiently as they could play defense. They do have a really good freshman, Toby. I always forget how to pronounce her last name. But yeah, she's good. She can dunk. We'll see that game. December 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. We also got Kentucky versus North Carolina. I think some of these early games for Kentucky is really going to be able to tell. It's really going to give us a good sense of like what this new look Kentucky team actually looks like. Because again, they got a lot of transfers, a whole lot of transfers. So we're going to see how they all kind of work together. Kentucky versus North Carolina is on December the 5th at 4 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. And I'm just saying, guys, North Carolina has probably the person in women's college basketball with the coolest name, Maria Goddang. Yeah, Maria Goddang is fantastic, and I just love the way I just love saying her name. I just love it. I just love it. Anyway, we got Iowa versus Tennessee on December the 7th. That game is happening in Brooklyn, New York. Random, but yeah, happening in Brooklyn, New York at 6 p.m. Central Time on Fox. I mean, Iowa's not the same team as they used to be, but they still got some ballers on them, and a big transfer that came in. All right. Next up, we got UConn versus Notre Dame. I'm really excited to watch this game. I may actually also go to this game. We'll see. That game is on December the 12th at 6 p.m. on ESPN. On December the 17th, we have Iowa State versus UConn. That game is on FS1 at 7:30 p.m. Central. Now, this is the big game right here. This is the big game. USC versus UConn on December the 21st. Guys, I'm so excited about this game because there's just a huge question mark of like how these teams will fare against each other because both teams look different. Both teams have brought in some freshman talent, have brought in some transfers. And let's go, man. Let's freaking go. Kiki Ira-Offin versus Sarah Strong. Y'all, let's go. December the 21st on Fox at 7 p.m. We also got another huge game. UConn versus South Carolina. That game is happening on February the 16th at 12 p.m. Central Time on ABC. Another one where I'm like, I really got to watch this game. This is must-see TV right here. Must-see TV. So that's kind of a look at some of the non-conference games that y'all should take a look at. There's a lot more to take a look at as well. I'll keep you all posted as the weeks go on about some of the bigger games of that week so y'all know what to pay attention to. Now, that's kind of quick look at the 2024-2025 women's basketball season for college. Stay tuned to this channel for more updates about what's happening. I'm going to try my best to keep you all posted overall about what's happening in college basketball. Now, the question I have for you is, do you have any predictions on the season? Who are you most excited to watch? What conferences, what teams, what players? Let me know. Really interested to hear what you all have to say. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Guys, happy November the 4th. Women's college basketball. Let's go. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.